Aside from the Duterte bloc, the so-called siblings bloc in the Senate has also expressed support for the Senate presidency of Chiz Escudero, and that includes Senator JV Ejercito, who joins us now here in the studio. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Hi, good morning, Gretchen.
Welcome
Nice
back.
to be here. Nice to see you.
Oo nga eh.
Not on the racetrack.
Okay, tell us more about these alignments happening in the Senate. Siguro, kayo po muna, no? Majority na po kayo? I mean, you are
yes.
the deputy majority leader now.
Yes. I'm part of the leadership right now, no, under Senate President Chiz Escudero. I'm at present the deputy majority leader. So I mentioned before in interviews that in case there will be, I'm really torn. No, I'm also very close to former Senate President Tito, who was my Senate President when I was able to pass 2 landmark legislations. No? Yan yung universal healthcare and creation of Department of Human Settlement. So, I really owe it a lot to him. He really pushed me at that time. And he is also my party mate. But at the same time, as mentioned, I'm part of the leadership now of Senate President Chiz Escudero. And it's just proper and probably courtesy that, you know, I'll be one of the last in case there will be alignments to leave him. In the same manner, Gretchen, that when former Senate President Mig Zubiri was replaced, I did not leave him until the last minute. I stuck it out with him. So I gave it to Senate President Chiz Escudero for giving me the trust and confidence. So I will not also abandon him just like that.
Kahit po, part kayo ng seatmates group.
Well, unfortunately, we are on opposite sides right now, no. But I had a talk with former Senate President Senator Mig Zubiri recently that this is just politics, no, and we may be on different sides at present, but our friendship. I call him brother. I will never forget what we have gone through in the past.
Okay, marami po nagtataka, bakit po kaya magma-majority sina Bam Aquino at saka si Kiko Pangilinan? Do you have any insight to that? I mean, syempre, sa labas, sa mata ng publiko, di ba? We see party lines. We see galing ito sa Liberal Party o kaya sa Independent Party, may Duterte Bloc. Pero, I mean, sa loob ng Senado, do all of those things matter? At the end of the day, paano nagdedesisyon itong mga senador kung saan sila aanim?
I think that's the character of the Senate, Gretchen. No? It's more often that we cross party lines because we are elected. Probably it's because we are elected nationally, so we are more sensitive. And more often than not, as I mentioned, with regards to issues, stand on certain positions, we respect each other. So, in fact, I always talk to our minority leader, our deputy minority leader, Senator Riza, who's one very vocal and very active. I talk to her, I'm very happy that, we often cross party lines, colorblind tayo when it comes to supporting each other on vital measures or issues that that would affect. Like, for example, yung universal healthcare, which I sponsored. Even though she was minority leader, she was very, very supportive. And until now, of any measure or any things that is connected to healthcare.
So usually it boils down to how am I going to get my bills passed?
Yes.
And committee chairmanships, kasama na po yun?
Well, committee chairmanships, I would say, but this time around in the choice of the Senate President, we are holding. I'm an incumbent, so I'm just holding on to my present committee and my present position. But it's true that sometimes when it comes to passage of certain measures or yung mga pet bills, you have to have good relationships with others, no? It doesn't matter if it's minority or the majority. In fact, I really appreciate, Gretchen, that Senator Coco Pimentel, our majority leader, and Senator Riza, every time I defend a bill that they would really stand up and scrutinize because it improves. I think it improves, refines the measure. I don't look at it as big obstructions, but I think it refines and improves
Sina-challenge
the bills.
lamang kayo
Yes.
sa debate, di ba?
Yes.
Para
And as they say, Gretchen, intelligent solutions and the answers are born out of healthy debates. And that's why I miss Senator Franklin Drilon so much. No? He's one of the most diligent minority leaders. And yung pong pinapasok ko yung Universal Healthcare, Department of Housing, I have to really prepare because he really comes prepared. And I think recently, Senator Coco Pimentel and Senator Risa Tiberos, although there are only two, really played to that role also.
ang impeachment po ba malaking impluwensya dito sa mga formation na to?
I think so. I think it's really more of yung trust and confidence in the leadership. No, right now, Senate President Chiz, I would say has about 15. In my estimates, I am not sure.
Okay.
About 15 at least supporting.
Votes.
Yeah, supporting.
Si
his,
former Senate President Tito Sotto, 4. Tama ba?
That's the block right now. Yes.
Si Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Mig Zubiri,
Senator Loren,
at saka si Senate
Yeah.
President Tito Sotto.
Yes.
That is it for now. Okay, mamaya natin pag-uusapan yung impeachment. Puntahan po muna natin yung several key issues that we talked about. One of which was with Chairman Altenco, yung online gambling. You called for a resolution investigating this.
Yes.
What data are you looking for?
Well, of course, we want to see how when we start the hearings, no, how many families already, right now we don't have this data at present. I have to admit, no, but it's been very prevalent, and we've been hearing a lot of things already, Gretchen, that a lot of people are already really getting addicted, no, and as I mentioned also in interviews, that this is, I think, worse than Pogo, because at least in Pogo, if remove the crimes related to it, at least yung
Hindi tayo biktima.
hindi tayo
ibang
biktima, yung kinukuha natin pera
nationality.
from overseas, no?
Kasi offshore gaming.
Yes, it's
nga.
offshore
Oo.
gaming. But this time around, with the online gaming at present, we're victimizing ordinary Filipinos. And ang worry ko, Gretchen, not only ordinary Filipinos, yung mga workers, employees, no, na yung hand to mouth na lang tataya pala, but also the youth are it's so easy, no, with the use of the phone. Ang inaano ko kasi rito yung it's very easy, very convenient, especially ma-e-wallet apps, no, GCash, Paymaya, and others. It's so easy, 2 steps, 3 steps, you'll be able to access already the gaming applications. So napakadali, no? So I think we can start from there. We have to discourage that
To decouple the
Yes.
gambling sites from the
parang
e-wallet
enablers
apps.
sila eh. They're
Oo.
enablers of online gaming applications right
Okay.
now.
Pero isa po sa mga problema ngayon na binanggit nga po ng PAGCOR, ito nga pong mga illegal gaming websites, no?
Yeah.
Na parang nasa 11,000 daw. Pero
Wow.
yun nga
That's
lang, most of them or a lot of them are foreign companies who are targeting Filipino customers. I mean, ano po kaya yung maaaring gawin dito to be able to strengthen
Well,
enforcement?
I think we really have to strengthen and give support to our cybercrime units, no? NBI has PNP, the ICT, on how we can curb online gaming operations, especially illegal. That what Chairman Altenco mentioned. That this is also alarming kasi kung talagang foreign entity sila, parang in reverse, no? Dati we're hosting the Pogos, earning from foreign
Oo nga,
capital.
no?
Ngayon
Oo
baliktad.
nga.
Tapos they're trying to victimize Filipinos. And as I mentioned also in my recent interviews, we have to find ways on how we will be able to regulate. If not, in case talagang we have to weigh, no, the social consequences. I was listening to Chairman Tenco kasi sayang din yung revenues that PAGCOR is generating. But you have to weigh the social consequences, Gretchen, if it's the cost of broken families.
Are you open to a total ban?
That's why I would want to hear and get data, just in case you will have the hearing, on how many families are already victimized, no, or addicted to
But
it.
you're open to it?
Are
The
open to it.
possibility?
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
Okay. When it comes to having a total ban, tama ho ba that it could be done by the president? So, I mean, like, he has the power over it. Pag sinabi niyang tigil niya yan, pwedeng tumigil na. He doesn't need any law for now to enforce that.
I would think so. Siguro
As
a mere
executive.
executive order, no? If it's really a menace already, becoming a menace to society, I think being the chief executive, being the most powerful man in the land, I think he can do it, no? So that we can further stop addiction and further social deterioration as caused by addiction to gambling.
But a law will be required to make this last more than one administration. Yun po
Yes.
yung purpose nung
Yeah.
pagle-legislate po natin. O,
Yes,
yun nga lang,
that is correct.
medyo, and this is huge money we're talking about, and I'm sure there's
Well,
lots of lobbying
Yeah.
when it comes to this.
Well, it's really, you would say tempting if you're in government, that because of the revenues that is being raised through PAGCOR, through the online gaming services. Sa akin, I'll be biased kasi doon sa Universal Healthcare, which I sponsor and author,
Yun ang funder.
funder is PAGCOR, PCSO. But again, you really have to weigh things, Gretchen. You have to, sabi ko nga, paano yung social consequences? We cannot afford people having lives that spiral, go downhill, destroy their families. There are other revenue sources. No? Like, for example, this time in my priority measures, I filed a bill, supplemental budget for PhilHealth. Yung pong nawala last time, I'm trying to, I filed a bill for supplemental budget of about 70 billion to restore it so that it can help PhilHealth improve. No? So,
Saan po kaya kukuha ng pera kung hindi po sa PAGCOR?
there are a lot of other, we can make cuts in other, during budget season, we can make cuts in other programs and projects, but
This is for the next budget season.
just for the next budget season, yes.
Okay. Ano po yung nababanggit po ninyo na nawala? I mean, kasi...
Well, naging controversial yan, di
yung
ba?
zero.
Yung zero, yeah.
Oo.
That's why
why did you file a supplemental budget?
Well,
What did
so
that take away when that was made zero?
Well, yung mga premium contributions of indirect contributors, ito po yung mga PWD, senior citizens, and others, sayang din, but it's about 50 billion. Then 20 billion for the benefit packages. Ito po yung open heart surgery and kidney transplant and a lot other packages. So hopefully we can restore it. At least restore the trust and confidence in PhilHealth.
Pero yun nga po ang argument nung DOH. Actually, sila mismo nagsabi. They're trying to discipline PhilHealth because meron naman silang excess
Actually, yes.
funds. Hindi po ba pwedeng doon manggaling yon? Or, I mean, bakit nga po ba nagkaroon ng... I mean, what led to that problem in the first place?
Because if you understand budgeting, we usually legislators look at some budgets or programs that there are budgets that are not being used, yung pong so-called part. So pag hindi yan ginagamit, for example, for the year 2023, 2024, talagang kukunin yan and it will be used elsewhere where it will be used for priority programs. No? So that's what happened with PhilHealth na some legislators thought that they have a very big reserve. Actually, because ito brought about by the pandemic kasi wala masyado operations on tuloy-tuloy contributions, lumaki yung reserve fund pang PhilHealth. And during the last administration of PhilHealth, what happened was tinitipid nila yung mga members because all Filipinos are now considered as members. No? Pag, for example, Gretchen, may mga ospital, for example, 100,000 in bill, PhilHealth will only will only cover about 5,000, 7,000 pesos. So it would hardly put a dent, no? Parang hindi mo man lang mararamdaman. Sabihin lang, but that's a case rate. And I don't think that's an excuse. I'm the author of universal healthcare, and our aim is really to lower the out-of-pocket expense of every Filipino. They should have adjusted the case rates long before, and I think what we need to do now is to increase the participation of PhilHealth. Hindi sila...
And how are you planning to do that? Are you planning to file another bill when it comes to the benefits? Or could it be just pushing PhilHealth to do more of its job?
The universal healthcare law is already a law, no? So I'm calling for, I'm proposing for the convening of the oversight committee on the implementation, because this is already the 5th year of implementation. It was signed 2019, implemented 2020. It's a 10-year program actually, no? And we want to check or look at the flaws, the weaknesses, so we can make the necessary adjustments. And Gretchen, I'm hoping that in the next 2 to 3 years, I would want PhilHealth to increase its participation in every medical bills. Dapat naman maramdaman
Ilang percent
ito ng
po kaya
tao.
yung ideal? Kasi sa ibang bansa, parang actually kinukover nila lahat talaga eh.
Yes.
Di ba, pumunta sa hospital, libre.
Yes.
But in the Philippines, what is the realistic percentage
Well,
of coverage ng PhilHealth?
I have to admit, we are still far from it. No? But if in at least 30%, no, 40-50%, if it can be covered by PhilHealth, that would mean a lot already. That would lessen the out-of-pocket expense. But yung pong mga indirect contributors that I mentioned, yung PWDs, senior citizens, and indigents, ang target ho natin talaga rito is zero balance billing, meaning they don't have to pay anything because wala naman talaga silang capacity to pay. So target natin for those, for that sector is really zero balance billing.
Is it possible to parang put it into law that the PhilHealth should cover this much percentage? Or
Well,
masyadong mabigat yon financially?
Well, that is why we are
Going to review.
I would want to convene the oversight committee 5 years after its implementation, because the former PhilHealth administration, sabi ko nga, parang they treated themselves as a private corporation, tinitipid nila yung participation. And then, they will be proud of their reserve funds, of their savings. Hindi tayo private corporation. We are a public corporation. Dapat yan ginagamit.
Hindi financial institution po.
Yes. And I think they can only say that they are successful if almost all the people are satisfied, you know, that in case they're hospitalized, kung 1,000 man yung kanilang bill, if, you know, PhilHealth answer 30% or even 50%.
Different success metrics probably would be needed. Like, magkano na shoulder nyo, ilang pasyenteng natulungan, gaano karaming nasaklawan ng coverage na yon. Okay, Senator, I wanted to talk about the impeachment because when you resume the 20th Congress, it will be first on the agenda. There are worries that it could ultimately just lead to a dismissal. Tama po ba na when you go back into session, pag-uusapan po yung answer ad cautelam ng Vice Presidente at you will vote on the motion to dismiss?
Well, actually, as a Senator Judges, I as much as possible, we do not want to comment. But, you know, we will just be rest assured that, you know, this is regardless of our personal position on the matter, it's a process, no? It's a constitutional duty that we have to go through it. So, it depends kung if the Supreme Court, I understand there's a pending case already in the Supreme Court. We will discuss it when we resume.
Kaya nga ho, kasi baka magtagal, no? Kapag pinag-usapan dito sa Senado, yung jurisdictional and constitutional issues.
Yes.
Are you in favor of a trial happening and those issues discussed within
Well,
the
I just want
context of a
to
trial?
also clarify, Gretchen, because I think I was misunderstood, you know, that, one of my advocacies is infrastructure development. Matagal ko na tinutulak yan, no? Yung railways, everything, because that would stimulate economic growth. And I would think that, the early political vagaries that happened, maada pa aga no? Sana kung last year, o yung 2027. So, I really envy our ASEAN neighbors, no? Not only Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, even Vietnam has really overtaken us already by leaps and bounds.
So, you're not in favor of a trial? Because
no.
ma-delay itong mga infra?
No,
Tama ba?
what I'm saying is that, although I am get frustrated, but we have to go through it. Though. It's our constitution. We are duty bound.
To have a trial?
To have a trial.
To have a trial.
But I'm hoping that, it will be swift, fast, so that we can go back to work already and give attention to the other pressing problems. As I mentioned, we have a lot of catching up to do. When we look at foreign investments, I think we're just getting half of what Vietnam is getting right now. So, marami tayong habulin eh. I think in terms of infra development, we're about 35 years behind our ASEAN neighbors. So, ang dami natin kailangan gawin.
Hindi
so,
po ba meron naman parang naka-earmark na pondo na para dun sa mga critical infrastructure katulad ng subway system po natin?
Yeah.
What would you like to add to the agenda when it comes to infrastructure?
Actually, nilaban po natin yan because naging controversial din yan because the priority programs and the foreign assisted projects in the past budget napunta sa program funds. So
unprogrammed?
Yeah, dapat yan, priority and foreign assist, dapat nasa priority. So, I fought for that and kaya nga I signed the budget last year because yung nilaban natin, napunta rin. In the budget, win some, lose some eh. No? You're happy with the one, it doesn't mean that you are happy with everything. Tulad nung nga sa PhilHealth. Ako, personally, syempre, being the sponsor, I was not happy with that. Kaya nga, I'm hoping that we can rectify subok na po yung pag-file ko ng supplemental budget so at least we can restore what was taken last budget season.
So you have 3 years in your term left. That's
I'm
why
hoping that
also,
in the next 2-3 years, at least if we can at least improve the participation of PhilHealth in every medical bills. And that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to go back in the Senate. No, that I'm hoping that I can oversee the implementation of universal healthcare. That finally it can be felt by the ordinary Filipino.
So public health po kayo.
Yes.
Committee. Okay. Maraming salamat, Senator JV Ejercito, for sharing with us your plans for the upcoming 20th Congress and for spending some time with us here today. Pwede na po kayo mag-ride muli. Pagkatapos ito. Thank you very much for being with us here on this show.